It's always a pleasure to be back in Lynchburg, and I want to thank the Liberty administration and the athletic staff for having this event. I think this is awesome. It's an honor for me to present Sharon Wilkerson Emory for her induction into the Liberty University Hall of Fame. I was going to talk about some stats, but you got all the stats there. So let me just talk about Sharon the person a little bit. I had the honor of coaching Sharon for 3 years of her collegiate career, but I've had the joy of knowing her since she was about a 7th grader. Sharon played her senior year for my friend Carrie Green, and Carrie, I'm really proud of the job you've done with this program. So you've done a great job. Sharon and her twin sister attended my camp. John O'Neill, our high school coach, is here, is also a Liberty grad. I don't know if they were 7th or somewhere between their 7th, 8th grade year, I think, or sometime around there. They came to my camp, and the recruitment began earnestly at that point once I saw them at camp. The many other schools had offered them scholarships, but I guarantee nobody recruited them harder than I did. Bob and Jan, their parents, are here. I think they thought I was, part of the family. Now, I was up there as many times as I possibly could do within the rules. I was at their church, at their school. I don't know if I tried to attend a family reunion, but they thought that was kind of awkward. But what people don't know is, and Linda Farver, who was a coach here when they were D2, when I took over, we had just was going from D2 to D1. And Chuck Birch and Bobby Richardson were the individuals that hired me, and they told me, they said, look, we had a little bit of a financial challenge, I'll say it that way back then, and we're going to get men's basketball fully funded, and then we're going to, move you up in scholarships. So I started with 10 scholarships, and I knew that when these two young ladies were coming out, they were coming as a package deal. And there was other people who said, well, we'll take Sarah or we'll take Sharon, but I knew they were going to go as a package deal. So for about 2 or 3 seasons, I was telling my assistant, listen, we got to be strategic. We got to take walk-ons. We got to do whatever we got to do to make sure we have 2 scholarships for them when they become available. And if they don't come here, I'm going to cry. But so yes, we did struggle a little bit because we were saving back 2 scholarships. We had them available. And then another story to go along with that, Elena Keseleva, who's also in the Hall of Fame, was here. I had a chance of signing her, and so I went to Chuck and I said, look, I don't care if you take part of my salary, I'll get a bucket, I need another scholarship because to get Elena as well. And they changed I remember talking to Dennis Carter, and I told Dennis I just signed a class that's going to change women's basketball here at Liberty for years and years to come. And again, I give them all the credit, but most the Lord all the credit for bringing them. Just a little bit, too, about Sharon. It's hard to talk about Sharon without talking Sarah as well. As you know, they are identical twins. And Sarah, I'm sure you're going to get your chance soon to be up here as well. But in 9th grade, I had a hard time telling them apart. And they loved I was the brunt of a lot of their jokes. Sharon's a fierce competitor, but she has just such a good heart. But in 9th grade, they were about 9th grade, and John could tell you that we were sitting, and I was bragging to actually some other coaches at breakfast in the calf, saying, okay, I can tell them apart now. I can tell them apart. Sarah wears her hair this way, and Sharon wears her hair that way. Well, unfortunately, they heard it. So the next day, they changed their hairstyles, and they got the biggest kick out of that. In practice, they would change their jersey numbers sometimes on me and do things like that, and they tell I get so caught up in practice. A lot of times I didn't notice, so again, the team enjoyed that. So our first championship game, I've got to share this. Their freshman year, we got beat by Greensboro twice, and both times we didn't have our full team. We weren't healthy, and we went into the championship games, and the guys had got upset, and we were all dejected over that. And then we played the game after them, and we were down. We got down 13 points to Greensboro at half, and Sharon had dove for a loose ball. A player had fell on her head. And Angie Witt, our trainer's here somewhere, and Angie was a great trainer, but Angie could tell you, her and Dr. Lane took her back, and she had 7 stitches, eyebrow, chin, lost a tooth, and came back out and played the second half. And first thing she did the second half was take a charge. But when she came out and played, we knew we were going to win that game. We were going to come back and win that game. And that first championship, I'm getting chills right now just remembering how the crowd rushed the floor. It was awesome. Just some other things, practice. I've never had a group of young ladies of that class. They just loved to practice. They wanted to be in practice. Well, Sharon got hurt one time. She's on a bicycle, but she wanted to watch practice. Well, I looked down there. She's riding that bike, watching her teammates practice, and tears are coming down her cheek. So I'm telling Angie, no more out there anymore. If she can't practice, hide her back there or put her up top, because it almost made me cry. I had to turn my back to her so I didn't look at her during practice. But she loved to practice, and I don't know if I've had a player who enjoys watching film as much as I did. And we share film still today. But the Tennessee game, I got to talk about that. You know, Pat Summitt was a good friend of mine, and I'm sure Kerry knew Pat as well, as he's a Tennessee guy. And Pat talked to me about Sharon scored 26 points that game. Pat even wrote about her in her book. It's been about a page. And then I ran into Shamika Randall, who had to guard Sharon that game. And she said, gosh, I got so much trouble from Pat after that game. But she said, Coach, I was trying hard. I just couldn't guard her. And I often wondered, we got such a bad seed because we were the undefeated and they were undefeated. We were both the two undefeated teams. I wonder how far that team could have made it to the NCAA if we would have got a little bit better seed. But again, if you ever read Pat Summitt's book, Sharon's in there for a page. Musically talented, she would sing so many times, her and Sarah both, the national anthem before games. I remember being in Baltimore. We were playing up Towson State, somewhere up there, and there's a grand piano in the lobby of the hotel, and her sister, one of them, were always in there playing that thing. And I thought, wow, I made a mistake. I should have brought a jar out there and used it as a fundraiser a little bit because they're so musically talented. But we took our team, we raised money for 2 years and took our team on a missions trip to Spain. And to hear, the people we met were really nice people, but they were very apathetic towards God, just like they didn't really see a need for God. But when Sarah and Sharon sang Via de la Rosa in Spanish, those people cried. And that was just awesome. Many people have mentioned Dr. Falwell here, and I love Dr. Falwell. He was very good to me, great man. But he coined that phrase, first time I ever heard it, Champions for Christ. And we use basketball as a platform to share Christ, as other sports did as well in their particular. But we talked all the time about being a champion for Christ in life, past the arena. And I'm really glad today. Dr. Falwell will be so proud of Sharon as I am. I'm going to start crying, excuse me. But she's a wonderful Christian lady, wife, mother, and still a champion for Christ. I want to present Sharon Wilkerson Emory.